Warning, this video is very opinion-based and Warning, this video is very opinion-based and could possibly be viewed in the community. Warning, this video is very opinion-based and could possibly be viewed in the commonly negative manner of glazing. If that offends you or slightly upsets you, leave. I don't care. This video isn't for you.
Welcome back. So Tyler, the Creator, and I know maybe I've said this often, but whatever, is one of my favorite artists, but he's one of my favorite artists of all time. Let me go ahead and tell y'all that I've known about Tyler since 2010, and I think I discovered him through the original version of Bastard or something. Basically, it was a scrapped album. Alright, basically it was a scrapped album. Now let me give y'all another warning. I'm a Tyler Glazer, well, partially, because this video may really seem like I'm chewing on it. I don't care what y'all say, this is not some random subject for me. I'm very passionate about this nigga. Pause. Now, in my Drake Has No Influence video that y'all hated, I said I was mad at Tyler, and I saw like 6 or 7 different comments asking me why I was mad at Tyler. This video is probably not gonna answer that question, but I just wasn't a big fan of Chromacopia. I'm sorry. There, I said it publicly, okay? I'm looking through the eyes of a long-time fan. I've been on Tyler for about 15 years at this point. And the point of this video is that a lot of Tyler's disposition. Wow, that word is really fucking difficult for me. And the point of this video is that a lot of Tyler's dispositions about hip-hop were clearly in the right place, but ironically enough, how he felt about hip-hop didn't really matter at all, because Tyler, the Creator, didn't need hip-hop. So when I say that, you may be like, what? How could you say that? He's a rapper. He's heavily inspired by the Neptunes, one of the biggest names in hip-hop. And with that, you know, don't get me wrong, I agree with you, partially. But do you genuinely really want to sit here with me and just sum Tyler, the Creator up to just a rapper? You would quite literally be the biggest bot in the world. And don't worry, I'm gonna get into that. But I do need to just explain why I feel like this topic of him not needing hip-hop is important, because I genuinely think you can apply this to yourself in the most positive way possible. So when we look at Tyler, the Creator in 2025, and I even said this in my last video too, that Tyler is massive, but in a very different way from like Travis Scott, Bad Bunny, or whoever else you can think of that has a large fan base. Now granted, those two fan bases are mainly Hispanic, so that's why it would probably come across that way. I probably could have used a better example, but the long and short of it is that Tyler has been on his own wave for a very, very long time. And it's very abundant in watching him perform at Camp Flog Gnaw every year, get Grammys, sell out stadiums, you know, world tours. The literal thousands of people that will fly from all across the world for 2 days of his amusement park is something I fully understand, because Tyler is the literal embodiment of the underdog who won. Shit, I mean, that's basically what this video is about, right? But I mean, why even say that he's an underdog? I mean, he said it, why can't I?
Ace the underdog, throw him on the back bender.
But even he knew back in 2009 with that song that he was an underdog. Now, me personally, I do believe that he was an underdog, and that's because he knew how hip-hop was going to treat him. It's almost like he could look in the future and see it himself. Now, I'm sorry if it seems like I'm rambling. We'll get into the actual talking points, but I really just don't think y'all get it. Like, the beat in the background you've been hearing since this video started was produced by Tyler during his Ace the Creator era. And most of you who are genuine actual fans either already knew that or were quickly able to tell. You wanna know why? It's because, well, he's Tyler, who was heavily influenced by Neptune, sure, but genuinely actually going down that rabbit hole, you know, that's like barely scratching the surface of the Tyler iceberg. Like, I think it's so much more apparent in his Narwhal interviews, because you really get to see how much he just loves music in its entirety.
I listen to his music and I truly say, oh, I'm not good yet. Truly. He put out the
summer mixtape. You're on it.
No, listen, he put out the have you heard the Harmon Change instrumental?
Oh, wow.
What are we talking about? What are we listen, anything in return? What? I put the instrumentals out and I'm sitting there like, oh, I'm not good yet. I've been a fan of this man since 2010.
This man is the king of playing himself down. It's actually pretty admirable, but he plays with himself on multiple occasions. Pause again. It's like he knows he's a genius, but he doesn't want to portray himself in that way publicly to where he's self-aware of it. But then sometimes he does. And that's for some reason something I can relate to very heavily. Now, I promise you, I'm going to get into the video, I promise, but I just have to quickly speak about who this actually is, right? So Toro y Moi, sorry if I'm butchering that name, and Tyler actually ended up working together as far back as 2011, making some of the most beautiful music that still holds up to this day. And I know it's realistically hard to put into words how, you know, the kind of music they made was just so strange and like ethereal to me, like Adult Swim bumper music, basically. I remember being subscribed to this channel called Wave Vision. That was like one of those channels that would upload music, and basically that was the first time I had ever heard Toro and Tyler together, and I was just mind blown. Like, it just gave me heavy, like, Flying Lotus vibes.
Looking good in that skirt. Flirting is the effective way that this works. Bingo, chapow. How about we go down to the lake and eat a couple.
Now, I've watched quite a few different amazing retrospective-esque videos on Tyler and his career, but I've never seen someone talk about how throughout his career, how in love with hip-hop he was, and how nobody talks about the gradual shift that happened throughout his career that was solely due to him. I've seen people slightly cover it, but I maybe want to discuss, you know, the relationship between Tyler and hip-hop and how it was one of the biggest push and pull toxic relationships I've ever seen.
Joke, and I'm just mocking it, but I'm like, no, you can't do. And I hold rap music so close to my heart because this shit changed my life and everyone's life around me, and I'm a nerd about this shit.
But the funniest part about what he said is not him dissing Ian, is that rap music, hip hop, whatever you want to call it, didn't like Tyler for a very, very long time. Too fucking long, might I add. But why is that? Why, as a rapper, was Tyler not respected? Well, as far back as 2006, Tyler was making beats that people to this current day, 2025, could listen to and could classify it as some niche genre that came out today. He was in his own lane when most of his fans from today were in their own diapers. It's incredibly disturbing how much of Tyler's earlier music was unfortunately lost to time, because this dude was making bangers like a really long time ago. Now, what I'm about to bring up isn't necessarily an issue, but to say Tyler was different would be a nasty understatement. I mean, y'all can really kind of tell from the way I'm talking and how I'm actually excited to make this video that I can really sit here for hours and hours and hours and talk about, you know, the true intellectuality of his beats and break them down and how they're quite literally better in every way than most of the bullshit you hear on the radio today. Because I make beats myself, right? And Tyler has inspired me in so many different ways within my own music. It's a lot to unpack, truly. I mean, we all know this is the dude that munched on a cockroach and hung himself at the end of a music video, said things like how he wanted to stab Bruno Mars and crack Justin Bieber. Like, we could all massively acknowledge that Tyler in his earlier days was pretty out there. But him being so out there is what made him stand out. Sure, maybe it was negative for him, and we'll get into that later, but this guy saying and doing this quote-unquote crazy stuff was revolutionary for a few different reasons. Like, number one, for him to publicly call out B.O.B. and Bruno Mars and say off-putting things about them was just not heard of at the time, but at the time, when no one really knew who he was, it definitely drew in attention. The kind of attention that Tyler knew wasn't going to be positive.
That's the shit I think about. You know, everybody thinks about dark shit. Why when somebody finally fucking says it, it's such a big deal, you know? Why when somebody finally says shit that someone's thinking, it's such a big deal? People are, all he talks about is, have you seen Quentin Tarantino's fucking movie? Why does everyone fucking get their dick cut off or some shit? Like, you know what I'm saying? Why nobody say nothing about that? It's fucking art. Why when a fucking black kid says it, it's such a big fucking deal?
Okay,
like,
now what about your lyrics?
What about them?
What are you saying in your lyrics?
Nothing. Shit to piss old white people off like you.
Is that right?
My lyrics aren't, I don't know. I'm sorry if I keep talking. My lyrics aren't offensive.
Aren't they?
No.
Some people find them offensive, don't they? You've
Yeah,
heard that
some
before.
people find everything offensive. Okay.
This rebellious and vindictive way of going about himself drew in a lot of kids that felt the exact same way. You know, the whole kill people, burn shit, fuck school type of movement that a lot of outcasted kids had felt but didn't really have the voice to speak. Whereas Tyler became that voice. I personally knew kids that were like this, you know? I was one of them, kind of depressed for whatever different reason, many different walks of life, but we all just felt out of place. And the funny part is that I still feel like that. I definitely feel like an outcast in a lot of different ways. And the comparison between Tyler and the other artists in his lane, he definitely probably felt like that as well. I said definitely and probably. I'm so sorry. You know, back then, let's say 2010, 2011, Tyler's main thing was to do things that would just piss people off and get attention. Watching his interviews from 12 years ago and back, you can clearly see that Tyler wanted to give off the vibe of just being unapproachable, just because the true message behind his music was being misconstrued, misunderstood, and missed entirely. Tyler got labeled as a horrorcore artist when it was so clear even back then that if you just did a few more fucking minutes of research and found more of his older stuff, putting him in such a small box was stupid. Which, when you really think about it, at this current point in time, you can still find his earlier work, which really lets you know that people clearly just weren't really paying attention hard enough back then. Fair enough, since he was considered an underground artist, and because he was considered an underground artist trying to make it, people didn't take him serious. On top of the subject matter that he would rap about, that shit definitely didn't help either. Now, me personally, I would say his subject matter of his earlier music is one of the biggest reasons why people didn't take him so serious, you know, or they just flat out didn't like Tyler. I'm not gonna sit here and act like the most normal women in the world would be super ecstatic to hear about a guy rap about a pregnant bitch and tell my friends I had a threesome, or one of my favorites, if it's horror pop the popcorn, the thoughts to rape you really turns me on.
Press my buttons, baby. Press my fucking buttons.
But Tyler was saying this shit in 2010. This was back in that era where, I'll give you a scenario, and some of y'all might not know what I'm talking about, but that mission in Modern Warfare 2, No Russian, it was literally on news stations of people trying to get the game pulled from shelves because people were kind of just softer back then, but they kind of weren't, if that makes sense. Tyler was saying these things in an era where cancel culture, realistically, wasn't at its most prominent. Now, condemnation, yes, but overall, you couldn't really just stop him. Tyler has been banned in the UK, which I think that ban actually got lifted. But to this current day, he's still banned from Australia. That's insane to me. Except it's kind of not when you realize Tyler was a commodity, bro, in the sense that this nigga said and did everything. He just didn't give a fuck who would see it. Dakota Fanning and Miley and Selena are all gonna take my poll, whether they like it or not. Fucking broads. This man was different, bro. I'm gonna fuck Victoria Justice and Selena Gomez. Fucking bops. He called them bops in 2011, by the way. God, I love this man. And something I want to expand on a little bit since we're on Tyler anyway is that realistically, all of Odd Future actually got looked at like this. You know, back then, Odd Future was looked at like, you know, that bad group of kids that your mom tells you not to go hang around, and they were the bad crowd, quote unquote. And this standpoint on them only came from the fact that they were saying what they wanted to say when they wanted to say it, and they didn't care. The literal embodiment of rebellious youth. That's why they're still so relevant to this day and age, because now it's really cool to just not care about anything, but they were probably one of the earliest music collectives that really made that their own ideology. A Day in Ladera, which is my favorite piece of media from Odd Future, was a vlog shot by Ryan Rigsby where they were basically filming themselves having like a regular day, like beating women mannequins, skating, smoking, mall antics, play fighting, dancing. I mean, this is the best time capsule, in my opinion, for what Odd Future was. The youth being the youth, which some people may view this and be like, they're just being a nuisance, but that's what Odd Future was, and that's why people like me gravitated towards it. That shit was cool. Look at how in the music video where most of the Odd Future members were doing a photo shoot, and it turns into one of the best music videos of all time simply because Tyler told the cameraman keep filming even though they were supposed to do something else entirely. While it turned out to be a great video, that type of attitude is exactly what hip-hop really wasn't aligning with when it came to Tyler. All these rappers, especially back then, were so used to following a set agenda that nobody around this time was on that real rebellion wave that has become so much more prominent now than ever before. On top of the fact that it's stamped, because if you simply look at Odd Future, that could be a video in and of itself that every single person had their own talent in their own ways. Frank Ocean, Sid from the internet, Haji, Left Brain, Earl Sweatshirt, Domo, Nikhil, even Jasper, Lucas Rossetti. I mean, y'all, I could talk about this all day long. And this is what it looks like when I actually give a fuck about what I'm talking about, if you couldn't tell. Anyway though, with the amount of controversy surrounding Tyler, it's pretty easy to figure that, of course, SJW blogs were gonna condemn him. Other rap blogs wouldn't post his music, which he had rapped about on several occasions. It's clear that Tyler felt a certain type of way about how when he was coming up, he wasn't getting the credit he deserved. And I think that's why when DJ Khaled had his little thing to say about him, he reacted the way he did.
You know, the weirdo was winning. I was moonwalking in a wig. This nigga had everyone on his album, everyone. And it's like, oh no, this bridge gonna work. That ain't real rap. That ain't real black music. That's what it felt like. And I was like, my nigga, don't do, but I didn't say nothing. I just let that number one speak. The nigga ego had to deal with that because his whole identity is being number one. And when he didn't get that, that sat with him longer in real lifetime than that moment. I moved on. I went and did some shows. We went to London, cool, didn't think about it. That sat with him because his whole identity is we the best, we the number one. And when the underdog to him took that away from him, that nigga ego was deflated.
Now, I don't know about y'all, but for me personally, it was so nice to see him react the way he did because he was right in his regard on how it really felt like mainstream versus what actually deserved to win. So when he got that number one, it was nice to see. Now, I can't suck Tyler off this entire video. I do have to acknowledge that Tyler in his earlier days was pretty ignored, and not just for no reason. Like, to say he was just a darker version of Eminem would be like an understatement, like at least lyrically. But then 2019 comes around and then you get Igor, you know? And I know that whole track list like the back of my head. I'm sorry, like Igor's theme, Earthquake, I Think, Running Out of Time, New Magic Wand, A Boy Is a Gun, Puppet, What's Good, Gone Gone, Thank You, I Don't Love You Anymore, Are We Still Friends? Like, I know that whole album. Like, what's so crazy is I don't even like that album like that for real, but that is how big of a Tyler fan I am. And I knew, like, y'all gotta understand. I'm sorry I'm so passionate about this, but y'all gotta understand something, bro. When that album came out, like, it was one of the craziest shifts for like Tyler's fan base of all time. And I think Igor, really Flower Boy, but Igor is really where people was like, okay, this nigga Tyler, like, he ain't nothing to play with. Like, that's when like real hip hop started to genuinely see what Tyler was doing finally. Like, it took, like I said multiple times throughout this video, way too long for people to really pick up on it. But even though I don't like that album like that, for my own personal reasons, you know, it did what it did. It shook ground, and it's regarded, there's a reason he got an award for it. Let's just say that, bro. And I don't know, maybe it won't get acknowledged, but Tyler's influence on current hip hop is so prevalent that if you're a fan, you'll notice it. If you're not, you probably won't. Although it didn't really start until, in my opinion, it was too late. He was the face of Odd Future, and he basically kind of paved the way for hip hop collectives, sort of like, you know, the very mid Brockhampton. Yes, I'm saying that publicly, I don't care, them niggas are ass. Like I said before, Odd Future was very rebellious and harsh in their image of what they were projecting onto the internet culture at the time. And I believe they were some of the first acts adding this type of musical image into the mainstream hip hop scene, you know, like, especially for their age, like they were young as fuck at that time. Now, fashion and culture wise, we have to give Tyler credit for blending skateboarding with hip hop, not just Wayne and Lupe Fiasco because of goddamn Kick Push. Also, Tyler has been, you know, very active in the fashion scene, adding these crazy colors and Vans and Converse into streetwear. The whole golf brand itself deserves its own video. And with artists like Kevin Abstract, Ryan Beatty or Beatty, however you say his name, what's that nigga's name, Roy Blair, Steve Lacy, you know, it's so clear they're influenced by Tyler and Frank Ocean's gay ass too, you know, with the aesthetics in music. It's almost a genre now of these, you know, Cali rap / R&B artists adding guitar, but like strong abstract R&B vocals. A lot of that stuff is just very Tyler coded. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Overall, man, I know this video probably feels like one big dick suck, but this man is one of my favorite artists of all time. It's very clear. And I just find it so funny that it took the world so long to take him seriously. I think everyone in rap should have the approach that he had and just do what they want to do and stop caring about how it's gonna get perceived. That's why niggas like X had such a crazy fan base, because if you're truly yourself, people will align with it. They'll love you for who you are. Or they won't. But guess what? Who cares if they don't? Y'all see, that's what I do on my channel. I don't give a fuck about these negative comments, bro. I just make my video, get paid, and go on about my business. On the other hand, with Tyler, it's nice to see how rap has finally started to take him serious because of his storytelling ability, his brand, and how deep his fan base is. It's clear that when Tyler was growing up, he realistically just wanted to be accepted. And once he started breaking into the mainstream as a rapper, you know, it took a while. But the whole time, Tyler didn't need hip hop, it needed him. I'm UVXEX, Fucking subscribe to me, man. Come on. Later. Huh?
Like acting or fashion, like you know how like ASAP Rocky raps, but he also models.
Yeah.
Yeah, like imagine if Tyler like wasn't a rapper, like you would think he'll be acting or like doing anything in fashion.
Yeah, I mean he would have, but that's not the point of the like. Okay, the point of the video. You know how like Tyler basically like never really got respected by hip hop. Like everybody thought he was the weird nigga and like yada yada. That's kind of what I want to expand on. Like the fact that like this nigga literally took over hip hop without ever needing it, and the whole time like. Throughout his career, this nigga like wanted to be a part of hip hop so bad. The whole time, this nigga didn't even need it because like he was literally just a talented artist. Like this nigga didn't need hip hop to fuck with him. That's like what I want to expand on, basically.
Oh yeah.
She gon' let her stick around, know that she can sing. Gotta sing, make it when I grab it. Special little room, all these hoes and her friends. She gon' ride,